Welcome back to the Building the Groundwork podcast. I'm here with Tyler Robertson, founder and CEO of Diesel Laptops, and Melissa Petersmann, the Diesel Queen. Both have been on our show before. Look forward to kind of getting into deeper into some topics. So where I wanted to start with you guys was, it's usually at the end of our podcast, but very important topic that kind of just gets brushed. We don't get that deep on is the labor shortage. I think it's so important. You both live it every day. I'd love to get your opinions on why do we have a labor shortage? Why has there been little to no movement with solving it? You both have unique perspectives on it. Who wants to start? Why do we have a labor shortage?
Yeah, I'll take it first because Melissa's actually part of the answer, the way I view the market. And, now you have a big problem. This problem's been going on for a decade. And I go to all these conferences and hear all these leaders up there talk about solving the problem. And every idea they've had has just been like absolutely stupid. Like, we're going to create a video game, and now people who play the video game want to be diesel techs. I'm like, well, it doesn't work. People don't want to be like car thieves because they play Grand Theft Auto, right? Like, I'm like, I don't know if that theory is going to hold water. And then he spent all this money to build a video game, and like 100 people download it. And I was one of those 100, and it absolutely sucked. It wasn't even fun. And then it's like, hey, let's go visit people in high schools. Well, now we're going to visit them in middle school. Now let's go visit them in grade school. Let's get to them earlier. Like, none of that works either. Like, it's just ridiculous. And they keep doing the same thing over and over again and kind of ignoring the problem. So when you have a big problem, now you need to have multiple plans of attack. And Melissa will talk about her angle, but one of them is like finding people that just actually are in this world and do the things and share the stories. And that's really what I first approached Melissa. Like, we need help doing that. And then another piece of the puzzle for us, it's like our job at Diesel Laptops. We're not a diagnostic tool company. We're a diesel technician efficiency company. And that's what you do at Heave as well. So if we can find ways to make the process more efficient, that's the equivalent of adding bodies to the industry. So if every diesel technician is 10% more efficient, we just increase the population of workload by 10%. It's like the same as hiring 10% more people. So we look at it from that angle as well. And then a lot of it just comes down to continuing education and training, taking the current people you have and making them better at their jobs. And that's really what we do with diesel training. But I know, Melissa, you shared a ton of stories with people, so I'm sure you got an interesting perspective in this space as well.
I mean, you and I have talked about this like 5 or 6 times now on podcasts, specifically on the technician shortage. And I think there's 2 solutions. Well, 3. There's 3. 1, influencers. As much as it's stupid and it sucks and I hate it, influencers. Because kids spend all of their time on their phone. We have a bunch of iPad kids, right? So influencers, that's the first thing. You want to get the jobs out there as not just like this low end, shitty, like not a career path job. You want to change people's perspective of that. And social media is one of the most influential ways of doing that. The second one is something we don't have control over, which is making shop classes and vocational classes in high school mandatory again for at least a semester, right? Because kids are, not even remotely exposed to it. So I just talked to a girl yesterday on a podcast that was an older lady, and she's like, I just, I think what you do is so amazing because I just don't think I could ever. Like, I know nothing about it. I just could never. And I'm like, you don't have to know anything about it to be good at it. You don't have to know that you're going to be good at something to try it. I had no idea when I started this industry if I was going to be good or not. No idea. I just jumped into it and tried. And then the third thing is retention of technicians. So, Tyler, you're almost the problem with this because you swiped me from the industry. But part of the reason that you were able to do that is because I could not find a job that did not require a 6-day work week. And I don't need the money of a 6-day work week. I wanted more work-life balance to be able to have a family. And it was just not possible in the area that I'm in. So
I have a question on that, though. Melissa, do technicians not realize the power and the leverage that they have?
Well, you think they do until you work in a dealership
No, I
and
think
you work
they
in
don't.
a shop. Okay. I'm like, we don't have shit.
No, because I think that they don't realize this and recognize this. Like, because you see the conversation out in the open, how the industry is hurting. For people don't want to pursue the trades. Like that to me is a huge like signal to technicians. Like, hey, you have the leverage. You're in short supply. You have more power than you exercise. Like, why don't you push back against a lot of this? And that's, I think technicians could.
To a degree. That's something, that work-life balance thing is something that technicians have been fighting for like fucking ever. And I fought it. I didn't, I try. I was one of the top technicians in the last shop that I worked at. And I still, like, there was no negotiations for, like, they hired me on. This is where they get you. They hire you on as, okay, Fridays are going to be, you're going to be rotated. And you're not going to have to work every single Friday. It's going to be more like one Friday a month, right? That's what they tell you. And then you get there and then you start working and then it's, can you come today? Can you come this Friday? Can you come this Friday? And then pretty soon you're working every freaking Friday and there is really no like push with that unless you want to potentially like piss people off. Like employers can't give special privileges to you because you don't want to work Fridays and everybody else has to. Like they can't do that. They have to make it fair. So if they make it so you don't have to work Fridays, then no one has to work Fridays, and then they potentially don't have any technicians to fill their Friday. Or sorry, Saturdays. I don't know why I keep saying Friday. Saturdays. They don't have any technicians. Like you keep doing that enough, their store isn't going to be open on Saturdays because nobody's going to want to work a Saturday. So it's kind of like
Tyler, do you think
a problem.
Do you think they understand the power and leverage that they have?
I think people genuinely are afraid to do things. So yeah, it's a lot to say, well, I'm going to go work at this other shop for $1 or $2 or $3 more because I know the people here, I'm comfortable, I like the situation. I mean, there's more than just the money at the end of the day. The part that's actually been surprising me, and I guess I kind of get it anecdotally through like Facebook posts and whatnot, but you don't see a lot of like, it seems like wages still haven't gone up the way they should when it comes to diesel techs. That's the part that's really surprised me because these repair shops, I mean, I just saw a post the other day how some truck repair group, I think it was MHC, they're like $250 an hour for their door rate now for commercial trucks, right? Like it just like, that's unheard of. That the diesel tech wages aren't raising as quickly as the door rates are at the same percentage. So that part's been a little bit confusing to me. What we see more than anything else is people quitting their jobs, being in the shop and putting their tools in a mobile truck. And now they're suddenly a mobile mechanic and they go find a customer or two and they end up making more money, make their own hours and do their own thing. That's been the bigger trend than I've seen than anything else in the space.
Yeah, obviously from where I sit, that's the trend that we see and that we like. And I think, I've bet a lot of money personally on that, is that I think that's going to continue. I think it's going to become more popular. And it's not just this industry. It's in other industries where the labor is highly skilled and has all the leverage, is that they basically become independent contractors and can name their price and be their own boss. So it's not something that is just this industry, but is across many. And it's just because of those supply demand, the metrics.
Yeah, I think part of that piece that's missing too is you don't see, I mean, we talked about this just at the Dirt World show we were at. You don't see like an industry trade group for like mobile guys or for like small business repair shops. Like it's missing. And those guys are all small businesses. They're great mechanics, great technicians, great with their customers, but they don't like know how to run a business. It's not because they're dumb. It's just they haven't never been taught or experienced or done anything with it.
Yeah, totally. You were raising your hand?
Oh, I'm just agreeing because I'm trying to start a business and I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Not a clue. I actually just called Tyler the other day. I'm like, Tyler, what do I fucking do? I don't know. Help.
How do I do this? How do I start a business? I mean, and it is tough if you've never started a business, just to understand the legalities of it, understand how to get insurance and payroll and what software do I need for my business system? How do I build customers and how do I manage cash flow? That's the biggest problem you see with the small guys that are doing the mobile stuff. It's like they're literally, they don't understand how to collect money from customers and what to do. until they get burned a couple times. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, now I know not to do that. Now I got to do it this way. But yeah, someone needs to step up, man. Maybe it's me and you. We need to step up and like create like something to help these guys just from like
Yes.
the organizational side of it and how to properly and best practices and what KPI, like what a bare minimum should you do if you're going to run a business.
Well, that's the hard
And it's
thing
just,
because
it's supposed to be
like
taught in schools.
the
Like, why not taught in high
the
schools?
small business administration, which is what my dad told me to go through, which I feel like is not the same that it used to be. I don't know. Because, like, I tried to talk to them and they're like trying to set, like, there is no, like, the guy they set me up with has done shops before, but like, it's hard to explain to these people, like, I'm a one man team, dude. I don't got
Mhm.
no employees. Like, I need help getting money for a building, like, and they were sort of helpful with a couple of things. Like, there's a local program where I live where high schools actually require their students to work a certain amount of hours at a legitimate fucking job or an internship before they graduate. So they find employers for that. Well, I could potentially do that with my whole idea of female, like girls from high school, and allowing them to work in my shop for, whatever. And like, that's a cool idea. And I love that. And I would totally be down, but bro, I don't got a goddamn shop. So help me get the shop. But they're like, oh, all these loans and oh, you can go into debt and all these cool places. And it's like, I don't actually, I want help with like the, I need help, like legitimate help, not just here, spend money. Here's a loan at this percentage. Good luck.
Yeah, Tyler, we talked about it. There is something there. I mean, we've gotten to know many technicians now over the last couple of years, and we know how much work they do, how much they're billing, and yeah, I see it a lot more than you would think. Around like, hey, but you made X amount of dollars, and you're asking for the next like 5 jobs, like what are you doing with that money? And you're right about like the collection side. Like when you're a sole proprietor, like those mistakes can be catastrophic if you don't get paid. So there is something there. I wanted to kind of circle back because I agree with you 100% on telling stories, and that's how you get more people interested. Um, I don't know if you listen to or are a fan of Adam Carolla, but he has like, hey, I'm a huge fan of comedy. I listen to a ton of podcasts, but I think Adam is really interesting because he had a construction background, and like his point of view is really interesting to me. Like he talks a lot about how, in his experience with construction workers and people who work with their hands, like they just are much happier overall. Um, there's a sense of accomplishment. Everything that we see from our seat, where it's like, a lot of people go to college and they work these like jobs that they don't even really produce anything, and they're miserable. Like I was miserable for quite a while out of school because you're like, man, I paid all this money, I went to school, and like I don't even know what I do every day. What do I
Well,
accomplish? And yeah, I do think part of how we can make a dent and get more people interested is telling these interesting stories about, and people understanding like, wow, this is a real path.
well, I will go on the record saying this because I 100% believe it that college is a scam for most people. And there is no people think I go get a 4-year degree, I'm going to be successful in life. Like that's just like a myth that doesn't exist. And most people that go to college don't even finish. Like my kids have college funds. I hope to God they never use them because they'll learn more sitting with me 1 year after school than they would in 4 years of college. So to me, that's a problem. And yeah, that's what I love about what Melissa does. Like she reaches so many people on a monthly basis. I don't even know how many millions of people on a monthly or annual basis see Melissa's content, but she's exposing a whole new generation to people of like, this is what we do. And I know it's not just Melissa. I know there's other people out there that are doing content. She's had them on her podcast as well. And that's what needs to happen is just share the stories. And when I first had Melissa come work at Diesel, I was like, I just want you to have a podcast and just interview people that are technicians and just be like, how did you get in this business? What do you love about it? What do you hate about it?
Mm-hmm.
And just from all walks of life and all industries, and start sharing the stories. And that's what moves the needle trying to fix some of this problem. But it is a big problem that's going to take a while to solve.
Mm-hmm. So do you think there's a stigma around it? I mean, I guess that's what some people tell me.
Melissa, why don't you take that one first? You work in shops. You're a woman in a shop of all things, right? Where you're in a field where literally 97, 98% of all the employees are male. It's like the nursing field, reverse like the nursing field in hospitals, right?
Yeah.
I can't do the women catty fucking. I hate you. I can't do it. It's not fun for me. At least if you work in a shop full of guys, if somebody's bothering you or being an asshole, you can tell them to fuck off, and they're not gonna hate you for 3 years. Um, I had a great experience. So there is a stigma with it. If you want to go the women route, right, the female route, there's a huge stigma of men are evil. They're going to try to destroy you. They will try to hurt you at every corner that they possibly can, and they will just suck the life out of you, and you will have to work 10 times harder than all of your male coworkers to be successful. And that's not fucking true. I understand that there's stories out there, and there are women that have gone through some shit. We just recently had a woman get killed at work by a coworker with a sledgehammer. That was just a recent thing that happened literally 2 weeks ago. Actually, the day after I got back from the Women in Trucking Association. She was a welder. She got killed in her shop by her coworker. Sucks. Like, I'm not saying that bad things don't happen. I'm saying that's fucking rare. The problem is with the stigma is those stories get 4 million views. My story of this is a great industry, I don't have a problem with it, the men aren't evil, like, half those views. It doesn't create the excitement on social media that makes things go viral in the way that the bad stories do. So it's hard to convince women that this industry is a good industry when all they see online, because this is the only thing that goes freaking viral, is the bad stories and the horror stories, like Amber's story where she got unalived at work. Like that's the problem. And I've tried so hard to explain, but so hard to explain to people and women, like, this is not, you don't have to work 10 times harder. You don't, you don't, you just have to work as hard as the men. That's all you have to do. Show up and try hard. That's all you got to do.
The stigma that I was more kind of referencing was like Tyler, you kind of alluded to it, where people for some reason have this thought that, all right, once you get to college, it's like, the job is done, and then you're good to go, because it just guarantees you. I'm sure there's like statistics, but statistics can be manipulated, and they don't tell the true story of like, someone who goes to college on average earns X amount more than someone who doesn't. But the stigma I was kind of referencing is like, so pursuing like the trades or blue collar stuff, you won't earn as much, or you'll be lesser, or you're not as smart. When it's kind of strange to me, because like technicians, they're problem solvers. I refer to them as engineers. They're basically mechanical engineers. Here's this $500,000 machine. It has a problem. This person can fix it. Whereas I've never like walked into somebody's office and be like, man, Jerry, what an Excel formula you just did. Man, that is awesome. And so, but it seems that there is like a stigma, and that's more of what I was trying to get at, and I don't know why. No, yeah.
No, it is. I mean, it is, right? It's all the blue trade skill. You meet someone in real life, and people are sometimes embarrassed to say they're a plumber, a carpenter, a mechanic, or whatever it is. And the reality of it is, it's just because a lot of people for a lot of years have been brainwashed to thinking, I have to go into school and get a white collar job to be successful at life. And like as Melissa said, they started getting rid of all the classes that the trades classes they should be having in high schools and everything else. But that's just, look, people need to learn to not be concerned with what other people think about them.
Yes.
Like, your opinions don't matter. At the end of the day, if you go get a skills job and you're good at it, you're making 6 figures, and you're not having to go worry about ever finding a job again in your life. You're not worried about working at a bank and the bank collapsed and you're getting laid off because of a crisis. Right. And now there's 100,000 bankers looking for jobs and nobody can find, like, that just doesn't happen in our space. So like when you were saying earlier, how much leverage the diesel technicians really have, you're absolutely right. They can literally get the toolbox rolled right next door to the next repair shop and have a job. Everyone's hiring.
Right.
It's just, do they want to make that risk? Are they afraid of what it's different, of the pay, the training, and all the other things that go along with it? And again, I go back to the fact that the wages do need to come up, and they can be afforded by repair shops, essentially, is what I'm saying.
Well, just wait.
Yeah.
In 10 or 15 years, we're going to be living the South Park episode. We're gonna be living in that reality. I don't know if you guys watch South Park, but there is a South
Oh,
Park episode of the tradespeople. Do you guys know
yep.
what I'm talking about?
No, you gotta tell me this. You gotta tell me the episode, at least the high
Okay,
level of it.
so
So I have a 15-year-old son, and he's huge into South Park. And I hadn't watched South Park in like 10 years, and it's like a daily thing in my house when I get home from work. He loves South Park, so I'm very familiar with the episode. So tell him about it.
the basic gist of the episode, which I've only seen it once, so you can chime in if you want to, but the basic gist of the episode is that AI has taken over every single person's job except for plumbers, electricians, mechanics, right? Except those
And no
people.
one in
So
no
they're
one in the town can do anything.
yep, no one right? So these fucking guys, like all these tradespeople are rolling up in like expensive cars with all their expensive ass clothing, and they live in expensive ass mansions, right? And they're just there to fix their doorknob, right? Because nobody knows how to do this, or like fix plumbing, and they're charging ridiculous amounts of money because nobody knows how to do it. So like,
the dad in South. So it starts like the mom said like it's something just like Melissa was describing. It was like something inane, like the oven door handle.
oh, Randy's oven, yeah.
And she's like, Randy, can you fix the oven door handle? He's like, I'll handle it. And then he like leaves the room and gets on the phone and calls like a handyman. And then that person rolls up in like a Rolls Royce basically.
Yeah, like
because
expensive.
no one knows how to do anything. And then she like jumps on him. She's like, Randy, why is this not done yet? And he's like, I'm working on it. He like calls someone else. And all of the handymen like they can't get to, it's like a dealer technician, like, hey, I'm 2 weeks out because no one in the town knows how to do anything anymore.
It's
And
funny.
It's
funny.
so true.
But that is hey, Diesel, stop fucking with my shit. That is going to be the reality. Give it like 15 years, 20 years. That's already well on its way. Like we're already on that trajectory. Like, especially like look at AI nowadays. Like, I mean, I'm sure that eventually we're going to pull an iRobot, and robots are going to be doing everything, including mechanicking, but our jobs are going to be the last ones to go. And that is going to be the reality at some point. And it's already on that way. It's already on that way.
No, I mean, I agree with that. I think it's going to be faster than 10, 15 years, but I think you're right. So like, next thing I want to kind of talk about are like trends that you see in the industry. You know, we were both just at Dirt World. What are some of the emerging trends that you see? Like, how do you see the industry evolving in the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, for me, I'll talk about the diagnostic side and like equipment and vehicles in general. So I always tell people that are struggling now today, like, okay, 5 years from now, our truck's going to be less, the same, or more complicated and complex with computers and wiring and sensors. And the obvious answer is yes, they're going to be more complex, and they're going to be doing these things. So what does that mean today? What that means today is technicians that are in the field today really need to figure it out. This isn't I'm going to stick my head in the sand and not learn these new skills and these new things I need to know about, with robots driving cars and trucks and advanced driver assist systems and new emission controls and everything else that's happening, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that trend. But the big one we see at Diesel Laptops, and how Diesel Laptops got big, was we got really good at doing in-shop diagnostics. So what that means is the way the world works today is vehicles out there being operated, vehicle breaks down, someone either goes to it or it's towed or driven somewhere. Some random technician, whoever happens to be available at that time and place and intersection, gets assigned that vehicle. They diagnose it, they do whatever, they fix it and give it back to the customer. This is the way the world's worked since probably the Model Ts came out with Ford, right? So what's changing now, though, is now we can do diagnostics in the cab of the vehicle while it's driving down the road. And we're seeing this on the machine side, we're seeing this on the truck side, and we have a company I bought here in January. That's what we do, is we monitor transit buses in real time, 24/7, using AI and
humans. Is that Watchtower?
And we provide... That's Watchtower. So Watchtower is pretty cool. Watchtower, literally, we can know before a DPF or DOC fails, before sensors fail. And it's about 91% accurate when it does have a trigger alert that goes off, which then does result in, now I can do something about this before it even occurs. So that's the advance. But the what we do today that's even better than the current model I explained to you is just the real-time reactive model. So now a vehicle driving down the road, a fault code does come on. Within minutes, we have an AI and a human analyzing the fault code and determining what it is. And we can look at all the sensor data and the things coming out the vehicle while it's still in operation. And now we can tell that fleet manager when to bring it, where to bring it to, what part numbers they're going to need, what tests should be done. And now the fleet manager can make a decision on when to down that vehicle. And all of a sudden now you're improving vehicle uptime and improving the whole process for everybody. And that's a huge quantum leap to be able to do that. And it won't be long before we're actually running diagnostic commands while on the side of the road, while we're doing things while the vehicle's in operation. And it's just the way the world's going. So we're moving this world from like in-shop diagnostics to like in-cab or even called in-cloud diagnostics, where things are going on. So I view the future as call centers like the one we have here at Diesel Laptops, staffed with diesel techs, monitoring vehicles 24/7, live, real time, and giving decision points and not letting the shops particularly decide who works on it or what gets done. But when they go to the shop, we're very specific. When it gets there, test these wires, give us the readings, and then we'll tell you what to do next. And basically, we're the experts at the top. And I think the world has to work that way with the diesel technician shortage. It's too much to ask all these independent shops and mobile guys. If you're a mobile guy, to say, you need to be the expert on every commercial truck that you work on the side of the road and know how to troubleshoot it. That's a big hill to climb. So they need resources to be able to more efficiently and effectively diagnose these things and make the right decisions. And that's why I think the world's already shifted that way. And I think it'll look a lot different 10, 15 years from now.
How long ago did you buy Watchtower?
We bought that company in February. So since February, the revenue has already doubled on that company. And while they were only doing transit buses, we now have refuse and waste industry and beta test. And we're going to go industry by industry and provide that service to fleets that want it and allow that active remote monitoring. We're still not sure on how the business model and pricing and all this stuff works as we keep on rolling things. But we do know this, customers want solutions. And it's not just going to them and saying we're doing remote monitoring. We're going to do remote monitoring and we're going to train your technicians and we're going to give you the tools and we're going to give you the experts to fix this stuff.
Well, in a sense, you're giving them literally all of the tools that the dealership offers. Like everything.
Yep.
From the remote diagnostics, because dealerships do that, not very effectively, but they do, right? The OEM people do that. The OEM people have engineers, right, helping. They have like all this stuff, but you have to use the dealership stuff, and then you have to deal with the dealership for all of that, and then sometimes it still doesn't fucking work, and so it's cool that like you've literally taken like literally every single aspect of what a dealership could possibly offer over the private sector kind of thing and been like, we have it. Literally all of it. Like, we have it. And yeah, you don't have to deal with Caterpillar and Deere and fucking all these other OEMs that you possibly have. Like, you've made it so people can own different brands in their fleet and not have to have 30 different dealership fucking people behind that, which is a pain in the ass coming from somebody who used to work at one. So
yeah. I mean, that's why I'm a $100 million company and we're completely through the hand grenade in the trench and blowing up our whole like product line that we sell customers. It's no longer let's sell a tool. Now it's like let's sign customers up for like a 3-year subscription where they get just all these things, one low weekly or monthly fee, and it's better for everybody in the long term like that. So yeah, it's I don't know. Businesses are always evolving. You got to evolve with the market as the market changes.
Well, I'm pretty sure, from what I know, you're the only aftermarket company that does all of that under one umbrella. So that's, I mean, as a customer standpoint, I would rather deal with one company and have them have everything than have to deal with a bunch of different companies for a bunch of different shit or have to deal with the dealerships.
It's interesting that you say that because what I see, and I agree with you, but the OEMs, like, always act in the opposite way. Like, they want everything just under tighter lock and key with just under their brand, and it's always the wrong move, right?
Well, they want your shit in their shop. That's their end goal. They want to sell you a piece of equipment and they want it in their shop, and that is all they care about.
Yeah, but they want to restrict access, and they want to, like, I remember
John Deere is kings of that.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen Caterpillar like trying to sell to their customers, like, hey, you can upload your Komatsu machines and your John Deere machines into, I think it's Vision Link or something, whatever it's called. I'll probably screw that up, but it's like, no, customers don't want to do that. They don't want it all into one OEM, and it just always works. It's misaligned, which has always been fascinating to me. And
Yeah.
the other, Tyler, you say businesses are always evolving. I agree, but in our industry, no one evolves. It takes like somebody like you, like people like repeat these sayings, but they don't do anything different. But yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
how you guys have had to change and evolve over time.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first started this, like literally like trunk of my car, pulling up to truck stops, slinging laptops out to people. Right. And I remember our competitors making fun of us. Like, that's just some guy in the back of his car,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, that was, but we thought differently. And what people really confuse, and like, it's the same thing you did. Like, we just made it easier for people to do what they want to get done and the problem they're trying to solve. So long as you start with a problem that people are trying to solve, then you back into creating a solution for it, you're good to go. The problem has been in our industry is you get all these software companies from out west that know nothing about our industry that decide to build a program, a technology, and then they decide to figure out like, what does it fit or what does it solve? And then they do it backwards, right?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
that's been the difference here. And like, you've been successful, I've been successful. We're industry guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Melissa, like, we're industry people now trying to do like take it to the next level versus it going the other way. And I've never seen it really work well going the other way from non-industry people.
Well, I've never heard of any other software company that's aftermarket besides diesel laptops, and this is before I even worked for you. Like the United
Mm-hmm.
Rentals in Cheyenne, where I used to work, they had a diesel laptop. So that was the
Mm-hmm.
first, like, I didn't even know that existed for diesel side. I knew that Snap-on sold these bullshit scanner things for the automotive, but I had no idea that like there was even like Diesel Laptops is the only company that I've even heard about, right? Like, so you must have done something right because I don't even know who the fuck anybody else is. So,
Tyler, something that we've talked about that I'm curious to ask you about is, one of the trends that maybe you've identified is customers wanting more data. You just described like how you guys have a solution where you're constantly like analyzing data and it helps you guys reduce downtime for customers. I don't. It's not that I'm disagreeing with you, but I just wanted to kind of talk through this. I think I don't know. There's the statement of customers want more data. I feel like customers would get overwhelmed by it. I think what they're trying to say is like, I want to know what is going on. I wish someone else could have access to this so they could just solve the problem for me. What I'm most interested in is like just not having downtime. But I can't trust anyone who exists today to just take that off of my plate. So I want more data so I can so I know what's going on. But every customer that I've sat with, like, they'd be overwhelmed with data and it would like paralyze them. So that to me is like an interesting topic to discuss. It's like, what do they really, really want?
So we've learned a couple things. Number one, small businesses, maybe it's a medium, they don't care about training their technicians. They don't care about data. They just care about fixing whatever's in their shop and getting it out the door and getting the next customer in, right? So now you're talking more like the larger, medium-sized companies and the bigger companies, like we saw Dirt World, like she mentioned, United Rentals and some of these other guys. So once you get to that level, people start understanding how important data is. So one of our bigger customers, every time they hook a scan tool up to a vehicle, they get a health report from it, like the VIN, the miles, the equipment serial number, the fault codes, what engine, like they get everything, right? And they can pile all this stuff in a database. I remember talking to one of these customers and I'm like, well, why do you even want that? I don't even get it. Like, explain, why would you even care to have that data? He's like, well, Tyler, 1,000 ways. He goes, the number one thing I'm going to do is when purchasing decisions come up and we have to go choose, what skid steer we're going to buy or excavator, we're going to look at the data and then we're going to look at the vendors and be like, why does your after treatment fail 13% more often than those other brands? And why am I paying for that? Like, we're totally going to use this data to just beat down the price of like what I'm paying for equipment. Another example is knowing if I have a big organization and I'm hooking up to a lot of things, what are my most common fault codes I get? Well, if I know my most common fault codes, now I can make cheat sheets. And now when those codes come up in my organization, It's not letting every technician pick his own adventure to figure out how to solve it. It's literally, here's the cheat sheet. Here's the part numbers, the wiring diagram. Here's exactly what you do to fix this thing, and let's get it out the door quicker. So once you start getting all this data and being able to slice it and dice it and look at it different ways, it becomes a really powerful tool to allow you to make better business decisions. But most SMBs and medium-sized businesses are not looking at data. They're just going off gut feel or financial reports or what it is. It's those other companies that are more forward thinking and really want to leverage all those data points to make better business decisions. And that's the evolution of a company. 5 years ago at Diesel Laptops, we weren't doing that. Now we have a full-time guy here that does just Power BI to analyze all the data coming in from our phone system, our accounting system, our customer CRM. We put all this stuff in and we look at it and we make decisions off of data. We don't make them off gut feel. But gut feel is how we operated when we were, 0 to 70 million in revenue. So it's just an evolution as companies get bigger and do those things. And I will agree with you too. The last thing a customer wants is another dashboard to manage another thing.
Right.
And that's our whole belief too. And that's what we do with Watchtower. It's like there's two flavors. You can watch it yourself, or we can just do it all for you. And guess what? Every customer has bought we'll just do it for me. They don't have the people. These big companies don't have someone sitting around with the extra time to manage and watch all these dashboards. So that's another piece of the puzzle as well.
Yeah, I think it does matter, who they have, because there's certain people, and I think it's going to require customers recruiting a different type of employee as well, who will want to look at the data and then know what to do with it. So I think it's going to require some evolution on the customer side.
Right. If you would have told me a couple of years ago I need to have data scientists and how people just do reporting in my company, I'd be like, what? Why the hell would I even need that? And now it's those people we're constantly sending them stuff analyze this, tell us what this means, what do you see? And you can make such better decisions in your organization if you have data. And then the other side of it is if you can't measure it, you can't change it. So if you're going to go create a positive impact in your organization on something, you got to be able to measure it no matter what it is. And we measure everything from how long it takes to put a kit together, to how long we talk to customers and the sales cycle, to marketing cycles, to call support, first call resolution, average time. All these are important things to us. And that's how we manage our business.
Well, it gets back to your initial statement of, right, it's how do you solve a problem? And so it's just the evolution of how to solve the same existing problem. And so if the problem is downtime, and the problem is it becomes worse because there's a shortage of labor, but that's because you're only tackling it after it becomes the problem. All right, well, how do you solve it? All right, well, maybe we got to get better at identifying it before it becomes a huge problem. And so we tackle it more on the front end, and then we lessen downtime that way. So yeah, it's a smarter way to attack it instead of just...
Is the problem even a problem? So I just had this one this week. We ran a promo for Black Friday for 2 weeks where it was just $1 to get into this 3-year contract. Normally it's $500 down. We're like, let's just do it for $1 down. It's still the same contract, and let's just see what happens. And, accounting's like, oh my God, this was a disaster. People are defaulting, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, give me the numbers. Give me the underlying data. What's going on? You dig into it. Of the 200 customers, it was one. Right? Okay, so it's not a problem then. You had one guy that had a problem. That's not a problem.
Right.
So that's the problem though. A lot of people get caught up in someone screaming, yelling, upset about something, and all of a sudden it's a priority, and it's really not. You got to really, in a business, you really got to figure out where you spend your time. You only got 24 hours a day. Where am I going to spend my time? And sometimes it's really hard. We're in the middle of it, trying to sort through all that.
Good transition. I want to ask you some questions here that apply to me. Congratulations. I've read some content you've put out around having crossed 500 million in lifetime sales. Unbelievable. Congratulations on that. How has your role changed with the evolution of Diesel Laptops? You start a business, I'm sure everyone who starts a business, you have no idea that you can get it to that level. When you start, everything is you. It's your will. You just have to keep going. You're wearing every hat in the organization. Then you get to 50 million in sales. I think when I first met you, you were probably around 70 million in annual sales. It continues growing. How has your role changed? I'm sure like there are certain things you don't like. You're probably further removed from the customer than you used to be, but that's just a natural evolution of it. Like, how has your job changed?
Yeah. Well, as your company scales, and Melissa will learn this too as she builds her business, your role inside the company changes. At first, you're the guy that does it all or the woman that does it all. Like everything comes to you. There was a constant line of people coming to my door asking questions. And what happens is your company stops growing then. And the real answer to that question is like, why does it stop growing? It's you. Because all of a sudden what happened, what I had to do is I had to learn if I was comfortable doing something, that meant I shouldn't be doing it anymore. And I got to go teach that to somebody else. And I have to go figure out what is uncomfortable and the things I don't want to do. Those are the things I need to be doing. So that was like kind of my like green light, red light system I had in my head. Like if I'm comfortable, I love doing this, that means I need to give it to someone else. If it's uncomfortable, like that means I'm growing and I'm learning something new.
So can you give me an example of something that you sought out that you didn't want to do that you just took on?
Yeah. I mean, well, at first it was everything. I mean, even doing the accounting, doing the customer sale, like I was doing everything. And there's still certain departments I hate getting involved in, HR and accounting. Like if I had never had another meeting with those departments, my life would be infinitely better than everything.
Everybody's life is
so
infinitely better without an HR meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. So the hardest thing as an owner, an entrepreneur, is giving up control. And a friend told me this. He goes, Tyler, you have to give up doing these things because you're never going to grow your company. And I'm like, but they're not going to do it right. They're not going to do it this way. He's like, exactly. He goes, honestly, you get the right person, they'll probably do it better. And he was absolutely right. Like I hired the right people, and trust me, I hired a lot of wrong people in there in the meantime that I had to fire or stole from me or whatever happened. And that was the hardest thing, was finding the right people. It took me 8 years to find the right executive team at Diesel Laptops. And now that we have it, they just take so much off my plate. And my role now at Diesel, if I'm involved at all in the day-to-day stuff, something's gone terribly wrong somewhere along the line, and I now have to get involved and go fix it. And that happens occasionally. But where I need to spend my time now is worrying about 2026, 2027, 2028. Like that, I need to have, there's only so many hours and so many thought cycles you have a day. If I'm thinking about those things and putting plans together and then convincing my executive team and my employees and we start building that bridge, you'll get there. But if you're not doing those things, you're not thinking about where your company's going to be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're never going to get to where you want to be. Like it won't happen. You have to get ahead of it and not be in the business. You got to be working on the business.
Have your thoughts on leadership changed over the years?
Yeah. And I think I've grown as a leader. Like I'm a different man and leader now than I was 10 years ago, than I was 5 years ago, than I was 3 years ago. And
how so?
You constantly have to evolve and change.
How have you changed as a leader?
Yeah. So I used to be afraid to ask questions. I would be in meetings and they'd be talking about things. And I'm like, oh, well, the financials are that, a little alarm bell goes off, but you're like, yeah, whatever, they got it. Financials are good. We're growing. I'm just not going to ask questions. And that's been the big change the last 2 or so years is I've actually started to ask more questions. And sometimes you start asking questions, you don't like the answers you get. And then we go down certain paths. And as your company gets bigger, the hardest thing to do in an organization, the bigger you get, we got 200 employees now. The hardest thing to do is actually change things to work. So an example is, I mentioned earlier, we're pivoting from selling a kit and chasing renewals to signing 3-year contracts. For 7 months, I'd sit in these meetings and my team couldn't move the needle. They were averaging 2 kits a day. That's all our team could do. And I'm like, I don't get it. They're less expensive. There's more value. There's less friction. Like, what is going on? And we went through a couple managers. None of them worked. Ended up having a couple quit, a couple fired. And it was like, this is not working. No one gave me answers. One of the answers I got when I was like, why doesn't this work? They're like, well, customers don't like paying monthly subscriptions. I'm like, bullshit. Everyone pays monthly subscription. That's the way the world works now.
Right.
That's not what it is. So you know what it took? It took us doing a war room. And a war room for us is we got 20 of our top leaders and people in the company in a conference room. And that meeting went on every day from 9 to 5 until we resolved it. And it was 1-hour sprints with immediate action items. Like, we're not leaving this room until we figure this out. And it takes a massive direct effort like that sometimes to move the needle. But those are like, I've never done a war room before this year because I didn't think I had to.
Why were you afraid to ask questions?
I think it was because I just didn't want to know and I didn't want to have to deal with it. I had so much on my plate and I'm like, this is my COO's problem. This is my CFO's problem. I was like, I don't even want to know that I got my own stuff going on. Things are going good. But then like things started not to go good. You're not growing at the same rate you were. You're starting to get like lower NPS scores. You start to see the data and you're like, okay, like there's something not quite right here, not quite working. And I have to change my approach to this. And there was a good period in there too. I had my personal stuff going on. I had divorce going on and I had the whole thing too, kind of threw a big monkey wrench in there for a bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was just a lack of courage on my part. And I always talk about having courage for people and having bravery, but I just didn't want to know because I didn't want to go deal with it. And eventually push comes to shove and you're like, you know what, time to roll up the sleeves and it's time to go fix this and time to go help the department move up.
Yeah, it's I've always liked asking questions. It's it's evolved for me. It helps me like get to the bottom of things. Yeah, and even in areas that like, I deal with software engineers. Like it's not my background. I'm not technical, but what I've learned over time is that you don't have to be an expert. Like if you just ask basic questions, like you can ascertain a lot just by the answers.
Well, there was one other like problem. So I did ask questions before, and what would happen is I'd walk around and just ask questions about things. I'd do a little tour of the building, right? Take a break and just go say hi to everyone. And then what would happen is I'd ask questions and I'd be like, okay, thanks. And then I'd leave. And like a week later, they come back like, oh, I did a bunch of research and I changed this because you asked that question. I'm like, I didn't tell you to do anything. I just was like curious about a thing. And there is just so much stuff going on here. You get 200 employees, all these divisions. Like it's not at the point where you can keep it all in your head anymore and try to know what's going on in all these things and remember it all. So it was just really me trying to prioritize and not throw monkey wrenches in people's days was a lot of it as well.
Do you feel good about like the culture of the company? Like I'm sure you're not involved in a lot of the hiring decisions, but do you feel like the people that your people hire are good fits for the culture and they preserve it and are good stewards of it?
Yeah, I mean, culture is important. And people always ask, like, where does culture start and stop? And it's really at the top, right? If you say one thing and do another, that's not going to fly. And, there's been points where I've been like actively involved with the company here every day for weeks and I travel and I'm gone for a while. Like you can just tell the vibe and the direction people look at changes. But I've been really fortunate. I used to think I was bad at hiring people. I probably still am bad at hiring people, but a lot of those people I hired, not knowing much about them and bad interview skills on my part from those early days are still with diesel laptops. We got a lot of people here with 10 plus years now. We're only 11-year-old company. So they understand the mission and why we're doing things. And I try really hard to keep the employees constantly updated on what's going on and why these things we're doing are important to us. Not just what we're doing, but why we're doing them. And that's the big part of culture for me is explaining to people why we're doing a thing. It's just not for the hell of it. There's a reason behind this. And a lot of times they don't get it. They don't understand it. But we do that. We do all the other stuff too. We try to, do the food trucks and lunches and all that kind of fun stuff too. So I think we got to, I would say like, look, like everything else in business, it can always be better. It's not, I'm not going to say our culture is perfect, but I do say we do try to put the employees first. We pay above average wages and we try to really make it a fun place to work while we're also trying to go accomplish some bigger, larger missions. Again, the employees understand the mission.
Melissa, how would you describe Tyler as a leader?
I mean, I'm still here. I definitely wouldn't be here still if I didn't like working for Tyler. I mean, I honestly don't even know who the fuck I'm supposed to go to. I just go to Tyler. Hey, Tyler, I have this idea. I know I'm probably not supposed to do that. I don't even know who to go to anymore. But, I mean, this has grown a lot just in the last, 3 years I've worked here. There's been a lot of growth in it. But I like working for Tyler. I think it's great. So I'm still here. So I think Tyler built a lot from nothing. And every single person that I've ever talked to at these trade shows that I go to for Tyler, none of them have ever had anything bad to say about working for Diesel Laptops either. So that says something because people like to bitch. When the boss is not there, people like to bitch. So that says something when I've never heard anybody say anything bad about it. So every person I've talked to likes it.
It just comes down to transparency and being truthful with people. Like I remember when COVID happened, it was like, okay, I can sugarcoat this or I can just be straight up. Like, here's the margin we need to make every day before we start laying people off. So let's all figure out how to get to this gross margin and reduce it. So I think at the end of the day, that's what LinkedIn too has been for me the whole time. And I got plenty of followers on there as well and get good traction. And it's like, I'm just going to be honest and raw. Like, here's the wins, here's the failures. I'm not afraid to put out there what's going on in the company. And the employees inside, they know as well. So be transparent, be truthful.
The last thing I wanted to ask you both, because I think you have perspective on it, is something that's I don't think talked about very often with like young new companies is the energy and how much fun it is to be counter, to be different. You did it a different way. We're doing it a different way than the way the industry operates, and like it's a lot of fun. It's fun to show up to work every day, doing it the opposite, like not living in that. Well, this is the way we've done it. It's brutally hard to build something from zero, but like the bond that also exists with like our employees of like coming into work every day, we're kind of like the David against the Goliath, and just like having fun. Like I got a ton of messages like from Instagram and LinkedIn the other day. We did a post around like the Office Space meme of like a customer getting a crazy invoice from a dealer. I got so much, so many people reaching out to me like, oh, that was so funny. Like that's a lot of fun, to just do something different and kind of thumb your nose at the way it's always been done. Like what's your opinion on that, or do you feel the same way?
Well, I'll tell you, my dad gave me the best advice when I was about 12 or 13. He's like, and I didn't understand it then. He's like, Tyler, the whole trick to this whole thing is just find a job that doesn't feel like work. Right. And like something you enjoy waking up every day and doing. And when you're 12 or 13, you're like, why the hell would it ever be fun to go to work? Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound fun at all. And yeah, that's what Diesel Laptops has been for me the last 11 years. Like I breathe, eat, sleep, go to bed thinking about it, wake up thinking about it. And how many people have the opportunity to go change an industry and change the way the world works? And I tell people this all the time. I think Diesel Laptops is closer than a lot of other companies out there. I think there's there's a need for the world to change and work in a different way. And I think we're leading the charge on a lot of these things, and it's causing our competitors. What I really love is as we're leading going differently, the fun thing has actually been seeing all of my competitors like 2 or 3 years behind doing the same thing I'm doing. And I'm like, okay.
That's how you know you're doing something right, though, is when people start copying you.
Yeah, 100%. I think I see like 10 different Melissa Peters on Diesel Queens online.
No, there's like more than that, dude. I should send you off topic. I should send you the AI. Did you see my post about the AI?
No, there's an AI version.
There's
of
a bunch of them.
Using?
So,
oh, nice.
I had somebody message me, which I have no idea how it ended up in my actual inbox and not my requests. Occasionally that happens. And he sent me a video of me talking to him. Because they took a video of me in a Diesel Laptops hat and uniform, so it must have been a video for you guys that they swiped, and they AI'd my lip sync to what they were saying. And if you've never met me before, that it was almost believable, which is fucking scary.
Wait, did it drop the F-bomb every 3 words?
No, that's the biggest red flag.
There we go.
That's the biggest red flag.
I didn't know yet.
They don't know me well enough. But yeah,
that blew up the AI model, I think.
But yeah, it's scary. Like those people, I don't really count as copycats because those are most definitely just scammers from like probably not this country, and they're probably men. So like probably not copy, but like there's I've had a few people that are like
this is the best form of flattery, right?
I've had a few people that have claimed that they hate me and I'm horrible and I'm like the worst person in the world and they're so much better than me, and then they take my entire personality, like literally everything I'm into, and adopt it into their own and then share it like they've been doing this whole time. Like they've been doing this the whole time. They were a diesel mechanic before. They know everything. They've already done all this. They like literally have had people do that. So I try not to get irritated about it, but I do the same thing you do, Tyler, where it's like it's flattery and like I know they're copying me because I'm doing something right, but it's irritating as fuck.
Well, Alex, and I don't know who on your side does all the memes and all the funny things on your guys' social media posts, but like If that's not you and it's one of your employees, I'm totally going to poach him one of these days because I love the content that you guys put out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to not let you know who it is. I think you met. I think you met her at Dirt World, Katie, our marketing manager.
Yeah, no, she does a great job. Like I love the content you guys put out there. It, like hits right between the eyes, but has a little bit of a kind of look at me, kind of spit your coffee on it a couple times
Yes.
when you're reading some of those.
At least give me like 3 more years, and then you can try to grab her.
Well, we'll be able to clone her and AI her by then, so we'll be good.
All right, then that's that I can sign up for. That's a compromise to me. I appreciate that. No, we have fun. Like it's like I said, it's like I don't think that's talked about as much. Like, but it's I think it's such a crucial part of it, and our entire team is like that. Like we love the mission, just like what you were saying with Diesel Laptops. We love the mission. We're making an impact, and it's just fun to be able to do things different. Like I hate, like it just sucked the life out of me before. Where like I mentioned in the earlier part of this podcast, it's like you have all of these people in a large organization that they all kind of know that they're not doing a good job for the customer. But no one wants to like do anything different like that. I can't work and live in that world.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing watching your store and your company's growth over there and everything you guys are doing. So I'm definitely rooting hard for you guys over there.
Thanks,
to keep pushing the envelope, because I know I was surprised how many dealers are your customers. I saw that post the other day, but it makes sense what you just said about salespeople, because you're right. Even the truck world, they just want their customer taken care of. Mm-hmm. And that's been the trend we're also seeing with OEMs. So we're now working with one of the major truck OEMs. And then we also done some private label tools for some of the off-highway guys, because what they've realized is the aftermarket's they're not bad people. And at the end of the day, they just want their customers' equipment not to be down. So they buy equipment from them again. Right. And giving customers some access to some of the things is what they're doing, which is a good thing. It's a good trend, and hopefully keeps going that way. It gives makes the world a better place.
Yeah. I see it with Ritchie Brothers in our space. Like
Ritchie Brothers sells, auction.
Yeah, so they sell a ton of equipment. Like if I was
I
a
know
dealer,
who they are.
And I'm sure like maybe early days dealers felt threatened by Ritchie Brothers. Like they sell a ton of used equipment, but it's just evolved where now dealers are huge customers of Ritchie Brothers. Like they use Ritchie to get liquidity for their like unused equipment, and so I think because I think Ritchie Brothers improve the overall ecosystem. Like Ritchie Brothers brought transparency around pricing. You can go online and you can see what every piece sells for, year, model, hour range. Like dealers never showed that information. And they just kind of broke down that barrier. Like I think that we can do that within the service ecosystem.
Does Ritchie Brothers still do the paint jobs?
I'm not sure what you're referencing.
So
I think they do. They offer those services to their customers.
Well, so every machine that I've seen from Ritchie Brothers, you can always tell if it's a Ritchie Brothers auction machine, because they will repaint your machine for you, but they paint over all the grease and everything, so all the grease is white, right, or painted. We call it a Ritchie Brothers paint job because it looks like they. I mean, it looks better than it did coming in. That's for sure. It definitely looks better.
Well, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that they have statistics that say, hey, it'll get 5% more at auction with a new paint job or whatever it is.
Well, and every single OEM has given me a letter. We call them love letters from the attorneys at one point in time. But now it's funny. Now the irony, right? Now we're working with them. Mm-hmm. So the industry's evolving.
Well, if you can't beat them, join them. So
yeah, exactly.
They're like, I can't beat this guy, so we better fucking join him.
Well, I think the true message is if they're helping the customer and we're opposed to them, what does that say? That says we're anti-customer.
Well, look at John Deere. Yeah. That's all John Deere has done is opposed every single thing that is not OEM. And now they have a giant bad stigma over their fucking heads of they don't care about their customers. They don't want to help their customers. All they care about is money. John Deere is the poster child for right to repair, because they fucked it up so badly that they're now the poster child of exactly what not to do. So yeah, I don't know about the other. I mean, it's cool that Tyler's got OEMs he's working with. That's cool.
No, I mean we love it, right?
Yeah.
Because that means customers don't have tools and we can make them and sell them. So
Sure.
for me, I kind of love the fact John Deere's that way, and Caterpillar to a degree as well. But world's change, things evolve.
Yeah.
There's more coming out. I can say that much.
Well, we do have some work to do with you on the association. So I look forward to kind of hashing that out with you. But I appreciate you guys giving me some time this morning. I know you're tight on time. You got plenty to do. So thanks for jumping on and talking through some of these things. And we'll stay in touch.
Hey, always a pleasure, Alex.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
Melissa. Appreciate it. Thanks. See you.